How's it going, everyone? Ryan Schremp here with ToplessRobot.com. Just thanking you for listening to this podcast, and I wanted to let you know that we're building a podcast network. We currently have 3 podcasts: Animated Opinions, Cosmic Love, and Topless Robot Podcast. If you're enjoying this podcast, please check out our other podcasts. And if you're enjoying these podcasts, it would mean a lot to us if you look us up on iTunes and leave a review. That way other people can find our podcasts. Or share it with your best friend. Nothing's better than sharing podcasts that are awesome with people who are awesome. So, thanks for listening, and here's the episode.
ToplessRobot.com presents...
You're listening to Animated Opinions, the only podcast with autonomously generated feelings. If you say something negative, we'll know, and it'll hurt. I'm Melanie.
And I'm Emily.
And today, we're going to watch a movie that failed because its stars couldn't back down for even a second. Maybe it's an anime, maybe it's a robot, but it's certainly Chappie.
Did it fail? Did Chappie not do well?
Oh, buddy. Chappie failed so hard. Let me Google the box office take for Chappie live on the air. Actually...
Cool, because I don't think we have that.
Chappie, in fact, doubled its budget, supposedly. Chappie's budget was $50 million USD. It grossed $102 million USD.
Oh.
So, Chappie...
Worldwide or opening or overall?
Oh my god, why don't you just have me do a research paper on Chappie while I'm here?
Oh my god, this matters to me.
I know it matters to you. It matters to me too. No, so that was the worldwide take. It did better in foreign markets than it did in the US.
Well, obviously.
Yeah. So the total was 102 million. It only made 30 million in the US.
R.I.P.
Yeah. It had a really bad opening. Like, one of the worst openings.
Really?
Yeah, it's the 150th worst opening of all time.
Well, I mean, we've already watched, fucking
Delgo?
and Dougal and Delgo.
Dougal Delgo.
Delgo.
Yes, the Delgs, the Doogs.
Sorry.
But, really, it's weird because Chappie, in theory, has a lot of appeal. It comes from the guy who did District 9. It stars the rap group Die Antwoord, and it has Hugh Jackman. Like, what is there not to love about this movie?
Hugh Jackman?
Do you not love Hugh Jackman?
I love Hugh Jackman, but his character in this was very polarizing for me. Also, I am confused by South African rap group Die Antwoord. And I am confused about Neil Blomkamp as a director.
Those are both fair points. Also, Hugh Jackman's haircut was very ugly in this movie.
Oh, God, his mullet.
Yeah.
His mullet.
There's a lot of mullets in this movie.
Well, it's South Africa. I know literally nothing about South Africa. I don't know why I made that statement.
No, because Neil Blomkamp's movies specifically all take place in South Africa, and it's a big deal to him. But he also makes South Africa out to be a fucking nightmare. Like, I don't want to go to South Africa based on Neil Blomkamp's depiction of it, with aliens and robots flying around, shooting at me, and living in concentration camps, and children throwing bottles full of fire at sad robots. I want none of that in my life.
The saddest robots. See, okay, I would go, but his movies are very clearly, like, political statements about South Africa, and I know that, but as somebody who knows nothing about South Africa, I'm like, what statement is this?
This is a great question, because Chappie is definitely all over the map about what kind of political statement it's trying to make, and I have to imagine it's because I know nothing about South African culture or about their police state. So I'm just confused the whole time.
Like, it's I don't know, I guess Chappie was me trying to, like, make the parallels that I know, because, like, I mean, in school we learn about apartheid and how bad it fucking was. But it's also like, what statement are we going for here? Because that's literally all I know about South Africa. Please help me, Neil Blomkamp. And he's like, here's a robot. I'm like, okay.
I would argue that us watching Chappie is akin to someone in South Africa watching a movie that fictionalizes and turns a sci-fi metaphor about the Black Lives Matter movement into a movie, where it's got to be just as confusing for them to watch this and be like, I understand exactly nothing of what's happening.
I feel like we've gotten that, though. Like, hasn't there been some kind of... Like, what was I, Robot?
I, Robot was based on an Isaac Asimov's short story.
Well, so. Yes, but all the political statements and shit.
I don't know.
Or you can draw parallels in anything to anything else, as long as you just, like, it's like that video of how to write an article at Vice, and they have the 3 columns up on the wall and he throws a dildo and it, like, it hits the sections of it. Because that's exactly what it's like. If you just close your eyes and do that, like, you on a fucking dartboard, you can make a political statement. Or you can make any kind of statement, social, political, economical, and then apply it to a movie.
Fair. Wow. We are really getting into a part of discourse that I was not ready for when I chose Chappie, a movie about a funny talking robot.
It is not a movie about a funny talking robot. It's a movie about police states and shit.
This is... so I always stop paying attention to this movie right during the second half because I stop being interested. Once the robot stops saying fuck mother, I'm out. Like,
no.
I love Chappie and he's doing all of his little Chappie things. And I know. I'm part of the problem.
The movies, yeah, Chappie's a robot.
I love Chappie.
Yeah. I was kind of shitting on .dat is the preferred file format for their robot consciousness. I was like, yeah, all right, sure.
Yeah, right. I have a lot of problems with how all of that worked. A very realistic movie, but we'll get to that. Would you like me to cover the production drama that came with this film that is shockingly not related to VFX for once?
Well, the VFX seemed to go very, very smoothly, and it was done quite well, so yes, please.
So, as we mentioned before, this film is directed by Neil Blomkamp, who's all about South African culture, loves to make movies that take place in South Africa. It's great. It makes we boring plebes aware that South Africa has a vibrant arts culture rather than nothing. And in order to meld that culture and a local celebrity, Neil Blomkamp cast this movie with the South African rap group Die Antwoord, made up of Ninja, a guy who is, I'm gonna best describe as like a tatted up Bart Simpson, and Yolandi, a space witch who shrieks. Now that you know who Die Antwoord are, more or less, you've got a kind of idea of what their music sounds like. Loud, rap, bumping, gets the party going. Totally incomprehensible. They were apparently terrible on-set, off-set. Supposedly, everyone that works with them has not great things to say about them. I personally love Die Antwoord as a rap group. I think they're great. I think their vibe is it's rude boy. It is a specific subsection of South African culture called rude boy. But, like, really? They're also just rude AF. Yes, this is a thing.
I don't know what you were really expecting when you had a rap group as your, like, main characters.
Yeah. I mean, like,
they set yourself up for it.
They play the roles in the film really well. They're playing
themselves.
They're playing themselves as gangsters, and it works really well. It's very fun.
Mm-hmm.
But this movie fell apart because of them. Not once, but twice. Apparently, on the set, the only thing we know about is that Neil Blomkamp, the director, said he would never work with them again. And Ninja said he would never want to be in the same room with Neil Blomkamp after what they went through on Chappie. supposedly the crew backs Blomkamp and says that Die Antwoord were impossible to work with. And it sounds like really Ninja is the aggressor in most of this, because there's a reason Chappie did not do well in America. A lot of its marketing money was pulled due to Ninja pulling some BS on Drake. In early 2015, right before this movie came out, Die Antwoord were touring with Drake. In a fun prank, TM, Ninja posts an image of Drake on Yolandi's Instagram with the caption, "I'm a massive, the word for bundle of sticks," on it. They used a slur in the same way that a 12-year-old on Xbox Live would use a slur. So that's not cool. This is not like he who cast the first stone. This is he who flings a massive boulder at someone who they're on tour with. Like, why? Why are you doing this?
Catapult. Well, yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, this is just like directly aggressing someone who has at the worst been kind of standoffish to you. You had, like, no shit, this isn't gonna go well. Drake did literally nothing publicly. We don't know how Drake felt about this. He's never commented on it. He's never said anything about it. But suddenly, there's, like, no promotion for Chappie, and you don't really hear about Die Antwoord anymore, and I think they got dropped from Sony record labels. Sony, both Die Antwoord's record label and the producers of this film, and Drake's record label.
There were a lot of Sony products in this movie, so knowing that now makes sense.
Yeah. So what I think happened there was Drake, like, nudged someone gently and said, "I'm Drake, I'm worth many money." And they said, "Oh." And that was that. This is all conjecture.
Drake. Is Drake still...
Yeah, Drake dropped an album last year that did really well. Supposedly he has a son that he's been hiding from the world. You know, normal celebrity things.
Is Drake problematic, or is that a different one? I do not listen to, like, rap or hip-hop or any of the musical stylings of Drake, just because they're not my thing. So he's not an artist that I follow. So this is not just me being ignorant. It's me just not... Well, yeah, it's me being ignorant. I don't know shit about the music world. Sorry. Everyone listening to the animated movie podcast.
Right? And yeah, sorry that you're here for the hip-hop primer before we get to the movie. Drake has not done anything as problematic as, say, Kanye. He has leaned over the line before, but then immediately leaned back in manicured PR moves. I don't know how I personally feel about Drake. I liked him better when he was on Degrassi, and I didn't have to think about him as anything other than Jimmy. But otherwise, I cannot tell you whether or not Drake is problematic. That is not my place.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I have no idea.
It's a good question.
Care. People can live their goddamn lives, whatever.
Damn straight. And speaking of living our goddamn lives, are you ready to live our lives via telling everyone about Chappie?
Yeah, all right.
All right, so...
Sorry, should I have been more enthusiastic about that?
Yeah, it's fucking Chappie. Get hype.
I'm fucking hyped for Chappie.
So, it opens with the Sony Pictures logo. Skyrocketing crime rates lead the city of Johannesburg, South Africa, to buy a squadron of scouts, state-of-the-art armor-plated attack robots from weapons manufacturer Tetraval. These autonomous androids are developed by British scientist Dion Wilson and largely supplant the overwhelmed human police force. A competing project within the company is the remotely controlled Moose, developed by Australian soldier-turned-engineer Vincent Moore. Dion is praised for Tetraval's success, but Vincent grows envious when the police are unwilling to give his heavy weapons platform equal attention.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. So, right off the bat, Hugh Jackman is immediately set up as our villain. He is just a warmongering, absolute trash man of a character.
Yeah.
It's bad. It is.
Oh. It's very bad.
He's real bad. Like,
he's got an ugly mullet. He's got these ugly robots.
Yeah. And he's very clearly still a soldier, and he looks like like the shittiest rugby coach in the world. He's always pretty much seen with a rugby ball, and they just needed the jacked up male aggressor stereotype. And they're like, how can we make Hugh Jackman trash? Okay, we'll put him in cargo shorts, make him carry a knife and a gun at all times, and a rugby ball, because rugby is violent, I guess. And did I already say mullet? Slap a mullet on him, because dear God, slap a mullet on him.
It's funny because he says one of the only sane things in the movie, which is, my machines are controlled by humans because humans have the ability to make moral judgment calls and actually think about their actions. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I can see where that's a compelling argument for the human-controlled robots versus the robots that may just shoot someone who's jaywalking.
Ironically, though, because he's not a character that feels moral anything.
No, and it's clear that he's just using that argument to try and discredit the scouts.
Yeah.
But I can see where that argument makes sense.
Oh, I totally see where it makes sense. And it serves the same purpose of keeping humans safe while employing robots. But at the same time, you kind of need people that are actually moral to control these robots. And we get into human morality and choices and consequences in Chappie because, guys, this isn't just a cute robot movie. This is hard hitting.
How did this movie get Anderson Cooper to read its opening explainer text?
Oh, he was not doing anything at the time. Obviously, it was like 2015. So hadn't his show been canceled or something? And he was available. But
okay.
God, the first VFX shot in Chappie, oh boy,
is bad.
Oh boy, I think it was because it wasn't relying on mocap, but it's the first shot we get in the factory when you see all the scouts on the production line, and I was like, oh, gag, what?
Oh, yeah. The production line and all the stuff where scouts are actually getting put together looks like hot trash.
Yeah, everything else looks fine. I'm not going to shit on the visual effects of Chappie too much.
No, and they only use that production line in 3 shots.
Yeah, they know where their strengths and weaknesses are. Because, Chappie, they started production of Chappie, or like the production design of Chappie, right after District 9. And Weta did a bunch of designs of characters right after that. And yeah, Neil Blomkamp for the concept work, they had a lot of practical things built, and Christian Pierce is the Weta Workshop concept artist that is just fantastic. And they worked really, really hard to get these robots looking good and looking practical. They worked really, really hard.
They did.
Yeah, it was a mix of, as far as I can tell, it was a mix of a couple of visual effects studios. So we had Chris Harvey doing the overall VFX supervising. And then Image Engine and Weta seemed to be the heavy hitters here. And then there was a little bit of everybody else. There was Embassy and Olin VFX.
Oh.
Yeah, so Blomkamp was like, hey, let's all work with Image Engine and Weta again so that we can have the cool concept art and practical effects that we want in this movie. Let's just slap fucking robot bits on, I can never say this guy's name, Sheraldo Copley?
Sheraldo Copley, sure.
Sheraldo Copley? I think it's Copley.
Okay.
It's basically, we don't know how to say this poor man's name, but Sheraldo Copley, who was Chappie when they were filming in Johannesburg and Vancouver. So he's in a mocap suit, and all the VFX breakdowns are really, really great because you see this guy with like robot bits on him being a gangster. It's pretty fantastic, honestly.
He does a really good job in the body language acting. I understand if Chappie is feeling, but it's still a little robotic. It works.
Right, and this is, you know, the advantage of motion capture because you do have that delay in motion, and that's why, you know, a lot of other things don't work as motion capture. But when you have a robot, it does. And you just kind of, I mean, they built physical robots, so they have physical models to work with and put in and have around. But you have cleanup as well. You know how a robot is supposed to move, and you can really, really control the movement of a robot, and you know exactly how a robot would behave. It's not, like, squishy. It's fucking metal and wires. So there's not a lot to fuck with, basically, is what I'm saying.
Fair.
But it's really funny to see this little man. He's not little, but, like, this littler man. Like, he's not Hugh Jackman built, which would be hilarious to see Hugh Jackman in a fucking mocap suit being a robot.
Oh my god, yes. Fund it.
But yeah, slapping Sheralto up in the mocap suit and then having him be a gangster robot and then seeing the gangster robot happen, it's pretty fucking great. The VFX are great. Sorry. That's what I appreciate. Basically, moral of the story, I appreciate the visual effects in Chappie. Everybody does a really good job of getting this robot as something I empathize with. Especially when it gets all fucking gangstered up. We'll get there. Chappie goes full gangster.
Speaking of full gangster, the moment Ninja was on screen, I realized I needed the captions on for this film just for him. No one else. Just him.
Oh, see, I thought Hippo was way harder to understand, but I also, like, kind of get the South African accent, but I pretty much always have subtitles on because it makes it so much easier to understand. And you also get, because they subtitle like things that you wouldn't hear normally. So there was a great like moment where there's a huge gunfight and you can hear yelling and there's obviously words being yelled, but you can't hear them. But they've subtitled them for you. And one of the cops says, "Drop your weapon," and the reply from whichever character it is, because they don't specify, is just "fuck you." And I was like, yay, subtitles.
I love that. I also loved Yolandi's all-pink gun, which is just great.
Oh, yeah. See, I like the yellow one that had the pink clip in it because it just made it feel so happy and cute and weirdly dystopian for me.
Yeah, their hideout is the same way, where it's got all this, like, super bright, colorful, cute art. And I'm like, okay, are you artists or gangsters? Can you be both?
Can you be both? No, everything in this movie is really cool. Like, the decisions that were made when it came to the set design and, like, the attention to weird details. So they live in this weird fucking warehouse, but it's oddly beautiful. It's just really cool.
It seems very custom to, like, that Yolandi actually cared and was like, no, I want to make sure that the art matches, like, my aesthetic.
Yeah, like, it's very clearly they live there. It's not just a random fucking place.
Yeah, it's their vibe, and I really do like that.
I think my other favorite thing was that Scout 22, so Chappie starts out as Scout 22, and we establish very quickly that whenever a scout goes down, it usually ends up being Scout 22. And my thought was, do you think they have a Deadpool for Scout 22? Like, every time it goes down, a tech wins money. Like, how long is Scout 22 going to be out for before it gets fucking beat to shit and comes back for repairs? 3 days. Boom.
Poor Scout 22.
AKA Chappie.
Shh, don't spoil the movie. They don't know it's Chappie yet.
Oh, yeah, sorry. My bad. Yeah, we have no idea what robot Chappie is going to be.
No, we have no idea.
Yeah. Let's talk about Dion.
At home, Dion creates a prototype artificial intelligence that mimics a human mind to the point of feeling emotions and having opinions, but Tetraval CEO Michelle Bradley refuses to let him test the AI on a police robot, fairly reasonably. Undeterred, Dion steals a recently damaged robot before it is destroyed and puts it in his van. On his way home, he's kidnapped by a group of gangsters, Ninja, Yolandi, and America, who threaten to kill him unless he reprograms a police robot to help them steal. Dion installs the new software into the damaged robot, which responds with childlike trepidation upon powering up. Dion and Yolandi calm the robot, teaching it words and naming it Chappie. Despite Dion wanting to stay with the robot, Ninja forces him out of their hideout because he's pissed that Dion has given them a child robot and not a police robot.
Yes. There's a joke that I see go around every once in a while about tech people and networking people about not having anything new in their houses. Like no smart thermostats, no, basically nothing. And it's just like... Your average person is just like, here, I have an Alexa, and I have this, and I've got that, and it's all wired up, and smart fridge, whatever. And then your network engineer is like, I have a printer from 2004, and if it makes a weird noise, I'm ready to kill it with a baseball bat.
Well, yeah, the minute you work on the serving side of any of these devices and you see how much information they take and how easy it could be for that information to get out or get into the wrong hands, you do just want the printer that you're ready to shoot.
Oh, yeah. Like, I think the newest thing I have in my apartment that I have purchased, what do I have? I have a PS4. Like that. Oh, wait, maybe. No, the Switch is newer. But I also, like, it's not hooked up to anything. I try not to have, like, any accounts. I try not to have my information readily available, so I don't have anything input on it. Like, it literally is just a game system. I don't have it wired for anything. Same with the PlayStation. We don't have it networked to anything.
Fair. I'm probably just giving away my information at this point, but what do people need to know?
Yeah, so Dion is, like... Dion's weird because he wants to do good, but he's just too naive and idealistic. And when he gets denied the chance to take this robot shell, when Sigourney Weaver is like, no, you can't take this robot shell, Dion sits back down at his desk and seems to have this moment of, like, contemplation. And he has a fucking cat poster at his desk, and it just, like, prompts him to steal the robot.
Hang in there, baby. Take that robot.
Like, don't give up on your dreams. Steal the robot. And I think it was like, don't let anybody tell you what you can and cannot do or something. And he looks at it and he, like, throws down his shit and goes to get this robot. And then Hugh Jackman comes back on screen. He looks like an Outback rugby coach. And we got to do crime in this movie. Basically, everybody does crime in this movie in some way or another. Nobody is faultless except for Chappie, who is just a precious baby robot.
So, Yolandi and Ninja in America find out who Dion is and go specifically to steal some secrets from Dion. They think he might have a robot remote, but then plans change.
Yeah.
Well, why wasn't their initial plan just to be like, we have the creator of the Scout robot and we want $20 million to release him and not shoot him to death?
Why? Okay, so at that point, they don't need Dion, though.
Yeah, but they could have just skipped all of the steps in their plans and taken Dion hostage for $20 million.
Right, but there's no way they were going to get out of that one, you know?
I don't know. Fine.
Because like, I don't know. The hostage situation doesn't make sense to me because the company is definitely not going to give up anything for Dion because Dion has already served his purpose. He's got the Scouts. Essentially, at this point, Dion's code for the Scout robots has probably been distributed and edited by so many people in the company that if he were to die, they could just pass it off to another engineer and be totally cool.
Fair.
It's called redundancy.
Yeah, and I guess they probably had a long discussion about that in the van as they were kidnapping Dion, so I'm glad that America made those solvent points.
Yeah, that's
America's the smartest of the three by a country mile.
Yeah. America is probably the greatest. They also call him Yankee sometimes.
I love America. He's a very underdeveloped character.
He really is. He's just kind of ignored and underappreciated. And I'm just like, I just love you. Yeah, at this point, I realized that Die Antwoord was like a thing. I finally put two and two together and we're like, oh, this is kind of like Jack and the Cuckoo Clock Heart, but for Die Antwoord. So I Googled them and like watched one music video and was like, I'm done.
Fair. It's not for everyone.
Yeah.
I really like the fact that Yolandi is wearing a crop top that is a full color picture of a kitten and is smoking a blunt while they're doing the hostage interrogation on Dion. I feel like that's my personal aesthetic, is just this. She's always wearing like a million hair clips. She's got Day-Glo Band-Aids on for half of this movie. It's great. Her whole existence in this film is amazing.
But I was like, okay, so is this just for the movie? And then I realized, no, this is her actual day-to-day aesthetic. This is how she presents. And I'm okay with that. But I thought it was just really cool. At the time, I thought it was just really cool, like, costume design choices. Nope. That's just it. That's just who she is. I respect that.
Her life is costume design choices.
Oh, yeah. And that, yeah, okay, so the hostage situation, these gangsters kind of have the right idea. They're like, all the robots have to have an off switch. And the answer is they probably do, but it's coded in and it's going to be really complicated to access. And because you don't really want them to all go down at the same time, which is kind of the goddamn point. So kidnapping Dion and then threatening him. And then after they've talked to Dion and he says it's not possible, they say, go check the van for a remote. Like a remote that will turn all the robots off, because clearly the programmer is going to have access to it. And then they find all the robot bits and they're like, why were you hiding the fucking robot? Why were you hiding it? And Dion goes, I wasn't hiding anything, which is true. They never checked the van and they never fucking asked him, but he's still a little bitch about it. And it was going super well for him because, for gangsters, they're being really, really accommodating.
They get super hype when they see the robot, and Ninja yells what is assuredly the best line of this movie. Indestructible robot gangster #1, son. So good.
Yeah.
It's just like a bunch of good words.
And then, I was very upset that they never gave Chappie, like, the anime heart eyes. I'm so upset. Like, you get a little bit of eye expression on Chappie's digital face readout. But they never take the opportunity to go full, like, ooh eyes.
I fully agree with that. I also feel like Dion specifically screwed these gangsters over by putting his experimental AI into Chappie, just so that way they couldn't do a violence.
No, they could do a violence, but they had to teach. So the whole thing is Chappie starts out as a child and they have to teach him things, and he obviously progresses faster than a child. Dion gives him one of those screaming chickens. And
I don't know. He just had it.
Yeah, and he's also very upset at the fact that they name it Chappie. He's like, I wanted to name my robot son. But he does not get to name his robot son, sadly, for Dion. I think because the reason Chappie doesn't want to do crime is because Dion tells him crime is bad.
Yeah. Dion pretty much swoops in and is like, I'm your god now. I'll tell you what's good and what's not good.
Yeah, so it's like a weird step-parent situation almost. And so Chappie picks up on Yolandi being kind of like the mother figure. So she's mommy, and then Ninja is daddy, which is weird as fuck. And Dion is maker. Like, he made him. So Dion is like his god almost. And we have the conflict of Chappie being like, no, my maker says I can't, even though, but my parents say that it's fine and I can't because maker told me not to. And America gets really fucking clever with it later because he's like, I can't do a violence. And he's like, no, Chappie, it's not, you're not killing them. You're just putting them to sleep. And I'm like, holy shit, how fucking clever is that, getting around it?
Oh, yeah. Ninja is all about getting Chappie to do what he wants. It's fantastic.
Yeah, but he's really bad about doing it. And not Ninja. America is like the only one that figures this shit out quickly.
Yeah, America is immediately on board in a way that isn't patronizing to the robot, but is like, okay, I understand that this robot needs a gentle touch.
Mm-hmm. But he also... America's pretty great because he realizes that they need the robot to do crime, but they also don't want the robot to turn on them.
Yeah.
It's like, we can't make this robot upset. Let's teach it things.
Well, I think it's because Chappie did a really hard high five to America or fist bump or something and really hurt him. And so America's the only one that's aware of Chappie's power and is like, oh, this robot could strangle me to death in a second.
Yeah, but he's not gonna.
As long as you don't piss him off.
That's fair. Yeah, so the whole reason they want Chappie is to do a heist. And they repeat this over and over, and Chappie is just continuously like, I cannot do heist. Heist is crimes. And you're like, singular, Chappie, singular. So the whole reason that they get Chappie and they need to do this heist is because there is a shootout in the beginning where Ninja and company, I think, are delivering drugs to a guy named Hippo. I love all the gangster names, by the way. Hippo is this like beefed out gangster man, and I love him because he's insane. And the drugs are in bad condition, and Hippo is like, you fucking owe me a lot of money. So Ninja's gang only has a couple days to pay off this debt of 20 million rand to Hippo. And Yolandi sees Chappie as a child and wants to mother him, but Ninja is getting impatient with his development because of the impending deadline for the debt, and Chappie's battery is running out. So in that shootout, Chappie's battery is fused to the chest cavity, so there's no way to get it out and recharge him. Chappie only has about 5 days to live. Ninja tries to train Chappie to be a gangster by leaving him in a dangerous neighborhood to fend for himself. And Chappie is wounded by thugs and followed by Vincent, who is Hugh Jackman. We pretty much never refer to him as Vincent. He's either Vince or Hugh Jackman. And Vincent has plans to deactivate all of the Tetravol scouts so that he can deploy his moose. And that is the weirdest sentence I've ever said. So Vincent extracts the guard key for his own use, and Chappie escapes and returns to the hideout. Yolandi scolds Ninja for his mistreatment of Chappie, but he manages to earn his forgiveness by training him in martial arts and weapon handling. Ninja and America trick Chappie into stealing cars for them and lie about needing the money to replace his dying body. Real quick, because this is important, and it's not really covered in this plot summary, and I realize that we kind of need to cover it. The guard key is a tiny, tiny, itty-bitty little USB thing that, like, if you have a wireless mouse and it has a USB component, that's what the guard key looks like. It's a tiny, tiny little thing, which is cool.
Oh, it's totally just one of those with, like, a label on it.
Oh, absolutely. But you need that inside the robots, inside the scouts, in order to install new software. So the guard key is kind of like their failsafe. If you don't have it in the robot, you cannot deploy new software. You cannot upgrade. You cannot. So it's their failsafe. And what's his name? Dion checks it out of the Tetravol facility and puts it in Chappie so that he can override the current scout program and get his AI installed. And when Ninja kicks him out, he realizes that he forgets the guard key in Chappie. Vince puts 2 and 2 together that Dion stole the body of Scout 22 and checked out the guard key and was pushing his artificial intelligence. And, you know, well, it's not 2 and 2, it's 2 and 2 and 2, so he makes 6. And that's why Vince tracks Chappie and fucking yanks the guard key out of his head, and now Vince has it and can fuck shit up because he has the guard key.
In additional information, 20 million rand is about 1.5 million in US dollars.
Yeah. Is that 2015 money?
That is today money. The day that we are recording this podcast. Do you need me to go back to 2015?
No, not really. I think it'll be okay.
So in 2015, it is a very similar amount.
Okay. I figure the rand hasn't changed that much from the US dollar.
The rand actually goes up and down pretty hard.
Really?
Yeah, the rand has had some dips and spikes very much over the last 5 years.
Oh, woof. Well, tell me when's a good time to travel to South Africa and maybe I'll go.
Probably before they install the police robots, but that's just me.
Oh, well, that's another thing about this movie. There's no real established timeline, but it feels like it's happening like as the movie is being filmed. So it kind of starts out, I thought it was going to be more documentary-esque, and then it turned into a narrative, which I totally appreciate, because if I had to watch the documentary version of this, I would have cried.
Nah, they just used the documentary to set up the world so that way you understood the police state, and then the movie is on a strict timeline of 7 days, because that's how long they have to repay Hippo. Chappie only has 5 days to live. It happens to overlap with the 7 days pretty well. I guess Die Antwoord spent a weekend snoozing before they got to doing a heist.
What was I gonna say? I feel like Anderson Cooper directly says 2016.
Oh, a whole year into the future.
Yeah. So I don't know. I have that memory, but it could be totally, totally wrong. Back to now that we've established that we know almost nothing about South Africa and we've given you as much backstory as you kind of need for this point, they kind of just like leave Chappie to do whatever the fuck and nobody's watching this robot child, and that's just a bad idea.
When Dion's at his desk, he Googles baby development and is reading a timeline of baby development. And I'm like, Dion, you patterned this AI after babies, but you don't know anything about how babies work? What are you up to?
Okay, so then Hugh Jackman comes over and it's just like, you having a baby, mate? That's my Hugh Jackman impression. And he starts like shooting the shit with Dion and then just whips out his fucking gun and pins Dion to the desk. And it seems like it's normal office behavior for Vince because nobody does shit about it. And holy fucking wow. It was a moment I was like, oh God, I'm actually a little bit afraid of Hugh Jackman. And then he literally threatens Dion's life in the office and then clicks the gun and there's no bullets in it. And his response is, oh, it's all a joke, as if I'd carry live rounds in the office. And I'm like, holy fucking shit, Hugh Jackman, I have to watch training videos about this. Like, this is like the worst situation. What goes on in South African offices that this is acceptable? How come he gets to carry a gun at work?
That's a great question. I would assume he's just a loose cannon cop playing by his own rules.
I feel like they were just like, Hugh Jackman, go.
Yes. Also, Chappie is cute. I love Chappie.
Oh my God. Yeah, Chappie is the fucking cutest. I love Chappie a lot.
I think my love for this movie, or my overestimated love of this film before rewatching it, is all based on the Chappie antics that happen during this portion and the next portion of the movie. His swearing is so funny. He's just a very funny character.
Yeah, the evolution of language where they're just like, Chappie, this is a shoe. Chappie, this is, I am mommy. I am Yolandi. And then America starts swearing and like whipping around a knife. And Yolandi's like, you're going to scare him. And then Chappie is like, fuck mother, I'll fucking stab you. And they're like, yay, Chappie, good job.
Hooray.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah. I am in love with the fucking gangster robot child and wanted no harm to come from him. But obviously we all knew that poor Chappie was going to get it.
Oh, yeah. Also, Dion, you can't come in here and establish moral rules for Chappie. Meanwhile, you just gave him to some criminals. You can't do both.
Yeah, no, it doesn't work like that. He also gets tailed by Vince. And I'm like, hi, my name is Dion, and I don't know whether I'm being fucking tailed by an obvious truck. Like, Vince's truck is huge and orange.
He has to have seen Vince pull up into that thing in the company parking lot and assuredly take his spot before.
Well, Dion also doesn't appear to have his own car because he only ever drives the Tetravol van.
Fair.
I think they had the budget for like 3 vehicles, and that was it.
Dion also doesn't seem very aware of the world around him at all. The fact that he's so willing to protect this experimental AI in Chappie, despite the fact that this robot will die in 5 days no matter what, and you gave it to criminals, is insane to me. Dion, put it in another robot.
You get this vague parallel for Frankenstein's monster and stuff, but I was more distracted by how dumb Dion is. Also distracted by Ninja's dolphin sweatshirt.
Yeah, that was good. I loved it. Also, Ninja keeps yelling at Chappie to pay rent. It's a robot.
Yeah, it doesn't have any needs. It doesn't need to pay rent. But yeah, no, it's pretty bad. Like the dynamic between Yolandi, Chappie, Dion, and Ninja is just weird. Because it's like when your parents get divorced and the stepdad hates the real dad, and the real dad's trying to be like, not cool dad, but real dad is definitely not approving of how stepdad lives his life and tries to like coach the child to not be like stepdad, and the stepdad's mad about it. And that's the vibe I was getting. I know that's weirdly specific.
No, I see it though. There is a lot of that going on in the movie. And then, of course, you know, like your stepdad does, leaves you to get beaten up by a random gang of teenagers.
Oh, yeah. No, that was so sad. Because how could this gang see this scared thing and immediately just beat the shit out of it?
I don't know. You think that they would be at least vaguely frightened of the police robots that are definitely killing people?
Well, no, they are. They have they do have moments where people are just like, oh my god, it's a robot. So they all react differently to it. Like when Chappie starts stealing cars, all the rich people that they steal the cars from are totally cool with this police robot because they don't ever have like bad interactions with the robot cops. But the gangs and shit immediately lose their goddamn minds. Obviously because they're not treated well by the robot cops. They're the ones that are targeted, and they're the ones that are beat to shit by the scouts. So I guess it makes sense.
This is one of the parts of the movie where I'm like, okay, I don't understand where the morality of this film lies. We're clearly supposed to think that Vincent and Tetravol are villains. Mm-hmm. Definitely villains. Doing bad stuff. But then we see these criminals beat the shit out of Chappie, who we know we're supposed to like. And I'm just sitting here like, the criminals are bad, but good, but bad, but the police are bad. Doing the math in my head, trying to figure out where the morality is, and I got nothing.
Bad and good and bad and good and bad and good and bad and good.
It's like we live in a world of gray morality, and you can't just assign goods and evils, even to a talking robot.
No, it gets really, really, really weird. And because we only see the criminal side. So we see this underground and we see the military, but we aren't seeing the good it's doing. And I'm also very confused by aggro Jackman, and all you have to do is be nice to the robot and it'll do whatever you want, but they're violent and nobody thinks about being nice, even though they see the fucking robot just petting a dog and doing literally nothing wrong. And thank fucking God this robot cannot feel pain, because if it could feel pain, I would just cry. When they cut off, so they cut off Chappie's arm, and Chappie's begging them not to because Chappie has fears. And I'm like, no, buddy. So you're feeling a lot of things about this robot. And Hugh Jackman is holding it down, cutting off its arm. But what you're forgetting is it's an actual fucking strong-ass police robot, and, like, everybody in the back of the van forgets that, and Chappie kind of escapes by beating the shit out of them.
Hugh Jackman holds Chappie down and saws into his head.
Yeah, holy
It's terrifying.
Fuck. It's weirdly terrifying and violent.
It's very violent, and you feel real bad for Chappie.
Yeah, it's really fucking weird, and it was very uncomfortable. Very, very uncomfortable.
The dissonant tone of this movie is hard to deal with at times, because you're like, hooray, Chappie, hooray, fun criminals, like, I'm having a good time, this is a fun movie. And then there's genuine crime and murder and fears and awful. And you're like, oh no, I'm not having fun anymore. Okay, I get it.
Yeah, and here's where I point out the mocap looks really good on the robots because they're robots. You're really just using them for general reference rather than a one-to-one. A lot of the time you can still tell that they're VFX shots, but you can't really have full-size robots doing full-size robot things all the time. We're not quite there.
No, I wish. I really liked the crime montage that took place while Chappie was learning to be a criminal gangster. It was so fun. I was like, I want a whole movie of this.
Yeah, this is where America comes in and is like, you idiot, we can teach him non-gun crime stuff. Because Chappie is like, no, guns are bad and guns hurt people. And America has this line that, like, shockingly good in this movie. Like, the writing in this movie isn't, like, 100%, but it's got a couple good one-liners. And he says, even if you're indestructible, you can't let people disrespect you, Holmes. I was like, wow, America. Wow. And Chappie gets really excited because they bling him out. And he's like, I've got blings. I've got blings.
They do little spray paints on him and he's got chains. It's so cute.
It's super cute, like weirdly cute. And then Chappie goes and steals cars.
Yes.
And he like screams at this blonde woman. He's like, slut, get out. And I was like, Chappie, oh my God, no. But it's funny because he doesn't understand why they want him to steal the cars. So he just destroys the cars. And they're like, no, Chappie, no.
Chappie, we need to sell that car. You can't just break the shit out of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
But yeah. Sorry, I had to drink some water. So the thing is, they tell Chappie that these cars are stolen. They were stolen from Ninja, and he has to get them back. So it's really funny to watch this robot steal cars and screaming at people that they are thieves and that they are bad and stealing his crimes. And Chappie drives away in like a beautiful fucking Acura. And you're like, damn it, Chappie. Yeah, we have the blind trust in the police robots by the rich people. And I was like, I've got a certain trust in police officers, but it's less of a respect and more of a healthy fear.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I would not just be like, hello, police robot. What a lovely day we're having. I'm not afraid of you murdering me at all.
Well, I wouldn't even do that with a regular police officer, you know?
Fair.
Like, these are people that have this insane power and fear, and they can just ruin you because they expect you to obey blindly. And when you don't, it freaks them out. And then they get violent.
Yep.
And it's bad. And then they make Chappie comprehend death.
Yeah, they explain to Chappie that he's gonna die, and he has so many little feelings about it. Oh,
yeah, and
this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah. The fucking Chappie. Fucking Chappie.
Fucking Chappie.
Sorry, I have to yawn. The sun is going down in Los Angeles, so.
Oh, boo-hoo.
Yeah.
So, at Tetraval, Vincent uses the guard key to upload a virus, sabotaging and disabling all of the scouts, including Chappie. Oh no! Johannesburg's criminals run rampant in the streets, and Dion brings Chappie to the Tetraval factory to fix him. After being restarted, Chappie notices a helmet used to control Moose. He steals it and runs away, definitely flipping Dion the bird as he does it. At the hideout, he re-engineers this helmet to allow him to transfer his consciousness into a computer so he can change bodies when his current one dies. Ninja's gang uses Chappie to rob an armored car, an act which is caught on the news, prompting Tetraval to pursue him. When Chappie learns that Ninja's plan to acquire a new body for Chappie was a lie, he prepares to kill Ninja for betrayal, for real. However, Dion arrives to warn them that Michelle Bradley, the CEO of Tetraval, has ordered that Chappie be destroyed. At that moment, the Moose robot, controlled remotely by Vincent, is launched to assassinate Dion and Chappie at the hideout, at the same time that Hippo arrives to collect his debt. America and Hippo are killed in the ensuing battle, while Dion is mortally wounded. When Ninja is about to be killed, Yolandi sacrifices herself to save him, and Chappie destroys the Moose by detonating a bomb.
Did y'all fucking get all that? Because it's just crimes on crimes on crimes on crimes on crimes on crimes on crimes. Like, yeah, a lot fucking goes down in a hot second.
This is the I made District 9 portion of the movie, and I definitely stopped paying attention for a solid, 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think this is where we were starting to get political statements about South Africa that I am not qualified to understand.
Yeah. Also, how can you just take all the scouts offline at once? Why was there no failsafe around that? The guard key should not be that powerful.
Well, it's because Vince overrides everything. So it's not like they're turned off. He puts in, he kind of recodes it to ruin everything. So their failsafe is no longer a failsafe, basically is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah, he writes in a fail, I think. That's what I kind of comprehended from it, but I could be totally wrong because I kind of was like, fucking coding.
My understanding of science is just I'm angry that Dion won't even bother to try and put Chappie's robot brain into another robot. Come on, Dion.
Well, at this point, if you think about it, Chappie is still learning from people, but there is a scene when he brings back the neural helmet and he plugs into the internet, and then Chappie does a Baymax and absorbs all the information ever from the internet.
Yeah.
And then it kind of makes sense. So I don't think Dion has the capability to do it, but then Chappie learns all that shit and then gains the ability to do it.
I also love Chappie just running out of there while Dion is trying to monologue at him with the neural helmet. I'm not going to listen to you. I'm stealing this. Goodbye.
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, yeah. And Hugh Jackman, so Hugh Jackman is rewriting the code for the guard robots and basically installing this fail into them so that they will all be deactivated. And he hides and is eavesdropping on what is basically the teenage rebellion of an AI robot. And I swear to God, he quietly mouths "what the fuck" when it comes back to him. Because Chappie is "No, you're not my real dad." And Hugh Jackman's what the fuck is going on? I think my biggest issue here, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, is that all of the robots go down at once. And the only hope is the warmongering Hugh Jackman robot that he has been pushing for the entire fucking movie. Nobody gets suspicious of this.
Yeah. It definitely points to Dion and Hugh Jackman being the real villains of this movie and the lady that runs Tetraval.
See, no, she's not a villain.
Oh, come on. She's we need to fit.
Okay. So.
She is all profits.
So. There's so much going on. So, real quick. There's a lot going on here. So you've got the robot learning, and he's basically Frankenstein's Adam, and there are crimes going on, and the whole reason that they can steal all this shit is because there was a money transfer that was going to happen. That's how they're getting the money from the heist. This is the heist they're doing. But you'd think that during a huge fucking crime wave and all the scout robots go down, they would cancel that. First of all, right. I would like to just right off the bat. Now that I have said that and we have this huge crime wave, they show on TV that fucking God damn it. What's his name? Chappie, for fuck's sake. They show on TV that Chappie is robbing this car and there are gangsters. And Vince and Dion have eye contact across the office. I would have immediately run to the boss lady or publicly accused Hugh Jackman of doing this in the office, because Dion puts 2 and 2 together. Dion realizes that all the scouts are offline because of something that Hugh Jackman has done. And if I had realized that, I would have immediately called it out. I would have, because they have that moment of eye contact, and I thought Dion was going to run from the room and go to Michelle's office and tell her what he's found. Or he was going to stand up and just be like, you've done this. You're the reason that this is happening. And I would have done that before Vince gets to her. Because, spoilers, Vince goes into Michelle's office and it's just like, we should deploy my warmongering robot. But the men are idiots. Yes. Therefore, I don't think anyone is truly a villain. And that's kind of the point. Except for Hugh Jackman. I think Hugh Jackman is the real villain. Because Michelle is trying to run a company successfully, and she's doing everything she can to make that happen. And yes, she is about the bottom line, but she is also working for a company that's trying to make the world a better place. Dion is trying to make something new and potentially make the robot police force better, but his flaw is that he's just too idealistic to make that happen in a realistic manner. And then Vince is the real villain because he creates a robot with the explicit purpose of murder and suppression to prove that he's right. So it's less reactive and more taking a proactive approach with like murder and violence. So he wants to rule through fear, and Michelle and Dion want to save human lives by kind of taking humans out of the equation, you know?
I like Chappie.
Chappie's my favorite.
Chappie is ready to do a murder at multiple points during this segment in the film, and I am so here for it, especially when he's ready to just point blank kill Ninja.
Oh, hell yeah. Like, and Yolandi has a Chappie shirt, and we're like, I want a Chappie crop top. And these, oh god, the moose robot, sorry, I thought about it. Fake ass motherfucking giant robot looks fake as fucking shit every shot that it is in, and it looks like it belongs in a game. And I am sorry I am making this statement because it hurts me, but I'm standing by it. The shots with this fucking thing in it look like a better version of a sci-fi original.
Oh no, you're totally on point with that. The moose robots look terrible.
Yeah, and Hippo, when he shows up and he's just like, I want my money, and you're like, there's literally a giant war robot right next to you. And it's named Moose.
Hippo doesn't even care. He's just like, yeah, I'm here for my money. I don't give a shit what you got going on today.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel it. Like, I'm 100% there for you, but holy shit.
Hippo is efficient. Chappie only breaking this entire scene to save Yolandi is the greatest thing.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic. And it's pretty much because she's the only one that didn't lie to him or mistreat him. And then Chappie starts wrecking shit.
Yeah, he does. Oh, Dion gets shot.
Oh, yeah.
And then immediately after, Ninja bludgeons Hippo to death with a shovel.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, oh, great. Dion, I'm sorry that you got wounded a little bit, but the guy next to you just got murdered to death by a shovel, so you're going to need to calm down, buddy.
Yeah, and this is the point where I was pitching a Chappie crop top that says fuck mother on it, and then with like a cute anime Chappie face.
I'm fully in for that.
I also really, really wanted Dion to live because it would just make my case that Vince is the one and only villain.
I'm glad Dion died.
Well, he doesn't die. So
yes, here we go.
Yolandi dies, and Chappie is very upset about that. So he drives Dion to the factory, storms into the office, and starts beating the absolute shit out of Hugh Jackman It is amazing.
It's and so he's good.
Just like, violence is bad. So basically, Chappie's like morally correct. He's like, violence is bad and this is bad. And as he is beating the shit out of Hugh Jackman. So he beats Vince to near death, and then he transfers Dion's consciousness into the spare robot through a modified moose helmet. And in return, now robotic Dion wirelessly transfers Chappie's consciousness into one of the nearby disabled scouts. So Dion and Chappie go into hiding as the police continue their contract with Tetraval. While burning memorabilia of Yolandi, the grieving ninja finds a box containing a doll copy of her and a flash drive marked Mommy's Consciousness Test Backup, which contains a copy of Yolandi's consciousness that Chappie took while testing the device on her. Chappie then hacks into Tetraval's manufacturing facility and builds a robot resembling Yolandi and uploads the drive's contents to it. So really the only character that dies is no one.
Yeah. R.I.P. America.
Yeah. No, wait.
Also,
America dies?
Yeah, America totally dies. He's not present in any other scene after he gets shot.
That's not fair.
Yeah, R.I.P. America. You're not a headlining member of Die Antwoord.
God damn it.
Sorry.
Yeah. Dion dies. Well, his body dies. His consciousness lives on.
I was so mad about this because I hate Dion for no reason, and I didn't want Chappie to revive him.
Like I said, I was okay with it. And the only reason I was okay with it, because Dion, yes, he was flawed, but he wasn't the worst character, obviously. He was just weak as shit. And everybody that deserved redemption got redemption, you know?
Yeah,
and
I feel it.
That poor fucking office, though. But shout out to the people. There were people that stayed in this office, and they fucking stuck around watching Hugh Jackman get beat to near death. And Chappie just destroys this office.
That would be me walking around. Anybody want coffee? We're cool with this, right?
Coffee? Vince? Does anybody want to watch Vince fucking die? Yeah, nobody clearly taught Chappie about fucking hospitals. They could have saved him. They could have saved Dion.
They totally could have saved Dion. He was not dying.
It's way more convenient that we now have two bodies. You know?
Yeah.
Although...
when Yolandi is being buried, it's so great because her face is just covered in glitter.
Yeah, she's covered in glitter.
Like she's got a death mask made out of highlighter, and she's just getting thrown into a pauper's grave in a dirt hole. It's so great.
Yeah. I was kind of offended by the ending because it was just very lacking in everything to me.
Oh, 100%. And Yolandi's robot looks straight out of an Absolute vodka ad, which I'm not about.
Yeah, I just kind of assumed that this was taking place in like a modern day South Africa where everything was kind of the same. Not the same, but like it's normal South Africa, so it's current universe South Africa. You know? And then we just assumed that the band Die Antwoord was decided to do crimes.
Yeah.
That's all I
guess.
That's shit to me.
Is that Chappie? Because I feel like that's Chappie.
That's Chappie, honestly. I was offended that Chappie never made the ooh anime eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Because it would have been great. It would have been so cute. I don't know how to
review Chappie because I feel like I'm going to feel the same about Chappie in 6 months that I did right before seeing this movie, which is all of the unimpressive parts of Chappie will ebb away in my memory and I'll only be left with Die Antwoord and Chappie being amazing. And I'll be like, I love Chappie.
I honestly think I will forget about Chappie in about 3 days.
Yeah?
Yeah. Like, this isn't a movie that's going to stick around in my memory.
That's fair. I think if I weren't a fan of Die Antwoord or of District 9, I wouldn't remember Chappie that well. And I obviously didn't remember Chappie that well. That I was like, no, it's like Spring Breakers, but with a robot. And then it wasn't for most of the movie. I also do love Spring Breakers.
I don't think I've ever seen that.
It's great. James Franco plays, in essence, Riff Raff. You don't know who that is either. I don't know why I'm telling you about this. It's a movie about girls that do crimes. Oh, and it's on Netflix. I know what I'm doing tonight.
Ooh, Silence of the Lambs is on Netflix.
You already watched that like 2 days ago.
Yep, and guess what?
All right, Clarice.
I love it so much.
You've listened to Animated Opinions. We have opinions. You have opinions. They're all very animated. Thanks for listening. I'm Melanie.
I'm Emily.
And this week, before we go, we would like to let you know about our sponsor, Lewdbox. If you're looking to fill the subscription-shaped hole in your heart, look no further than Lewdbox, a subscription for lingerie every month delivered to your door. You can pick it up and look at it and go, oh, maybe I'll try this on, and then you'll stuff it in the back of a drawer and really never wear it. Because let's be serious here, who's planning that far ahead to put some fancy lingerie on under their clothes? Get an impractical piece of underwear every month. A thong that goes all the way up to your nipples. A lacy teddy that cannot be worn under any kind of clothing. A piece of lingerie that may qualify as a shirt, maybe, if you're going out at night with a coat on top of it and you're not really confident enough to take off that coat. Lewdbox has it all. Everything that can't provide you any kind of support or comfort. For once a month, only at a low, low cost of $12.99. Lewdbox. Get lewd with your box. Your Lewdbox.